Hi, everyone. I'm back with an update on things related to the autism study that RFK Jr. Started talking about last month. So in this video today, we're going to cover 4 main updates. And just as a reminder, please do your own research. I've worked really hard to find, reliable sources and to present information that holds up to my level of scrutiny and truth and authenticity. And so I just would encourage you to do the same and make sure that you are fact checking all of the above. Okay, so we're going to cover 4 things today. There's been 4 major updates, and I'm doing my best to stay on top of them, but they are coming quickly. So the first thing is that on May 1st, there was a report from the Department of Health and Human Services on pediatric gender dysphoria that's being criticized for linking autism to transgender identity. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about on May 2nd, Trump submitted his budget proposal, and this has a lot of cuts that are affecting public health. So we're going to talk about that. And then on May 7th, the main thing we're going to talk about in this video is a press release from the Department of Health and Human Services that has more information about the autism study. And then we're going to celebrate with a win also on May 7th, the Illinois Governor JB Pritzker became the first governor to issue an executive order to protect data of autistic individuals. Okay, so that's what we're covering today. Hi, everybody in the comments. A little low on words today, but I'm trying to get this information out as soon as I can process it and get it in a video, just to make sure that we all have the information that we deserve to have. So we'll go in chronological order. May 1st, there was chronological order, but my notes are not in chronological order. On May 1st, the Department of Health and Human Services released a 409-page report on pediatric gender dysphoria. The report promotes gender exploratory therapy, which many experts are identifying as a rebranded form of conversion therapy. It also controversially links autism with transgender identity, suggesting that autism may be a root cause of gender dysphoria. Major medical organizations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, have condemned the report for misrepresenting scientific research and undermining best practices in pediatric care. There's also a lot of research that's highlighting the overlap between autism and gender diversity. Multiple studies have confirmed a significant overlap between autism and gender diversity, and research indicates that transgender and gender diverse individuals are 3 to 6 times more likely to be autistic compared to cisgender individuals. And this intersectionality just underscores the need for informed, inclusive, and supportive healthcare practices. So the correlation between these 2 data sets is being misconstrued. And so there's a lot of criticism with this pediatric gender dysphoria report that the Health and Human Services Department issued on May 1st. Okay, next up is May 2nd, Trump's proposed budget. And I've got links to all my sources in the description. Okay, so on May 2nd, Trump submitted his 2026 budget proposal, which outlines significant reductions to public health agencies, notably the National Institutes of Health and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. The NIH faces a proposed 40% budget cut, decreasing from approximately $47 billion to $27.9 billion. And the CDC's budget is proposed to be cut by nearly 50% from $9.2 billion to $4 billion. Multiple public health programs would be merged into a single $300 million grant, potentially impacting disease prevention and health promotion efforts. And then HHS also plans to reduce its workforce by approximately 20,000 employees, which is affecting various agencies, including the NIH and the CDC. And there's too many things to report on here. Please do some research. There's some really significant changes happening within the structures of these organizations that are going to have catastrophic effects on public health in general and at large. Whole branches of research and development are being gutted. Lots of changes here. These cuts could undermine disease research, delay treatments, and weaken the nation's ability to respond to health crises. Okay, so that was the second event that we're covering here today. The third event, which is the main thing that, like the main update for our autistic community in terms of news, is the press release that was issued by the Department of Health and Human Services on May 7th. And I'm actually going to read that press release to you because it's the most in-depth information that we have concerning the autism study. Okay, so the headline is NIH, CMS partner to advance understanding of autism through secure access to select Medicare and Medicaid data. This was in Washington, D.C. on May 7, 2025. The National Institutes of Health, the NIH, and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, today announced a landmark partnership to enable NIH to build a real-world data platform enabling advanced research across claims data, electronic medical records, and consumer wearables. This partnership will focus first on enabling research around the root causes of autism spectrum disorder, and in the long term, the partnership will link real-world data in a manner consistent with applicable privacy laws to protect Americans' sensitive health information for research on chronic conditions, a core priority of President Trump and the Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're using this partnership to uncover the root causes of autism and other chronic diseases, said HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're pulling back the curtain with full transparency and accountability to deliver the honest answers families have waited far too long to hear. And of course, there's someone that is mowing right outside of my window. My apologies. Of course, it happens for the first time when I go live. CMS, so back to the press release, CMS and NIH will start this partnership by establishing a data use agreement under CMS's Research Data Disclosure Program focused on Medicare and Medicaid enrollees with a diagnosis of ASD. Using ASD as the pilot research program, teams at CMS and NIH will establish a secure tech-enabled mechanism to enhance this data sharing with timely, privacy, and security-compliant data exchange. This pilot research program will inform continued development of a landmark NIH platform to ultimately be used by researchers in understanding healthcare utilization, chronic disease etiology and treatment, and the economic burden of chronic conditions. This partnership is an important step in our commitment to unlocking the power of real-world data to inform public health decisions and improve lives, said NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. Linking CMS claims data with a secure real-world NIH data platform fully compliant with privacy and security laws will unlock landmark research into the complex factors that drive autism and chronic disease, ultimately delivering superior health outcomes to the Americans we serve. Researchers will focus on, and if you're just now joining me, I'm reading the press release from the Department of Health and Human Services regarding the autism study. This was released on May 7th. So the researchers will focus on autism diagnosis trends over time, health outcomes from specific medical and behavioral interventions, access to care and disparities by demographics and geography, and the economic burden on families and healthcare systems. And then the final part of the press release here, with ASD prevalence now affecting 1 in 31 children in the US, and with more than 25% of those individuals experiencing profound or severe autism, the need for multi-source real-world data insights have never been more urgent. This joint effort aligns with our shared goal of fostering innovation to improve Americans' lives while safeguarding patient privacy, said CMS Administrator Dr. Oz. I look forward to working with Dr. Bhattacharya on this critical project. So here's what some people are saying. Oh, you're welcome for the updates. I feel passionate about getting this information to all of us because it's so important. There's so many things happening so quickly that things are trying to throw us off of our game, but we have got to stay vigilant and we have to keep working together. And this is not an us versus them thing. This is an all of us together need to work towards unity, better communication, privacy protection. Hey, Orion in the future. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so here are some concerns about this recent update. So this is from, this is a comment from, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this, Helen Taser Flusberg. the director of the Center for Autism Research at Boston University and leader of the Coalition of Autism Scientists, which is an organization that's been formed in response to Kennedy's widely debunked views on autism. She warned of the potential for information collected in this database to be abused. She said, CMS data includes certain information about individuals, age, date of birth, sex, where they live. It's possible to identify a person based on knowledge about these characteristics. And then, is this the same? Let's see. And she said, while the NIH director provides assurances that privacy protections will be put in place, we have seen other examples of how this administration has given permission to identify people to certain people working for the federal government. How will this registry be protected? She asked. And then I've got another quote here from David Mandel, who's a professor of psychiatry and a longtime autism researcher at the University of Pennsylvania. He said that it's the registry without the word registry in it, which is one of my concerns as well. I think they're finding a different way to brand this. And here's the thing, I am all for autism research. We need and deserve a lot of research to better support our community. The concerns here are the focuses of what the focus is going to be for the research. There continue to be nominations made, elections made for people in high places of power and influence within the public health department, within the HHS, the NIH. Recently, the Surgeon General that Trump nominated, got that on here. Trump nominated Casey Means as Surgeon General this week, and her medical license has been inactive since January of 2024. Trump said that he doesn't know her, he just met her this week. Her nomination has been met with criticism from some medical professionals and political figures who question her qualifications due to her incomplete residency and her inactive medical license. Additionally, her skepticism toward certain vaccines and pharmaceutical interventions has raised concerns about her alignment with established public health practices. So going back to why there's concerns with the data that's being collected, I'm all for research, but it matters what we're doing with that research. It matters how we're collecting it. It matters the people who are manipulating that data and studying it, what their focus is going to be. Because if we keep putting people in positions of power within the health organizations of our government who believe that vaccines cause autism, that it can be pinned to environmental toxins, if there's manipulated outcomes and they're using the research in certain ways to prove their points, that's concerning. And I spoke in one of my other videos about how RFK Jr. has actually, under his leadership, there have been people who have, and I share specifics in another video, who have quit, resigned, been fired because the information that they're presenting doesn't align with what RFK Jr. is wanting to present. So if you're going to hire researchers and doctors and scientists, you have to allow them to share the information that they've collected. What is the takeaway that these people you've put in power have about this data? We can't keep putting, like, cherry picking people in positions to support our outdated and disproven views of autism being related to vaccines and environmental toxins. So again, I'm all for the research. I'm all for funding to help the autistic community, but it needs to be done by people who have a deep understanding of our community, who have respect for our community. Even in the press release that I shared, it's linking autism with a disease, with chronic conditions. And I have a personal story to share on that I'll share on the channel later, of a way that this showed up on the playground at my kid's school, referring to giving another person autism like it was cooties. Like, it has real ramifications, how the people in leadership are talking about autism, and it's specifically RFK Jr. speaking about this as a disease. It's not okay to keep saying these things in the media. Also, in the announcement on Wednesday, Mr. Kennedy said that the platform would begin as a pilot research program aimed at autism, but would eventually be available to researchers studying other chronic conditions. Talked about the budget. And then the last thing, I think we've covered most of it. I'm trying to present this cohesively, even though my brain is not very cohesive today. But again, I'm trying to get out timely information for our community. If you want updated information, you can check out my website, which I linked in the description. I'm trying to keep it all at one place, momonthespectrum.life/RFK. I've also got pre-written emails that you can send to representatives and advocacy organizations. It's all typed out for you. You just copy and paste, and I even have the email addresses that you can send them to. And I do think that those emails are being heard because after a couple weeks ago, a lot of pushback happened after the initial announcement of this autism study, and then they came out and I talk about this in another video. They kind of walked back the rhetoric that they were using. I don't know that necessarily anything changed about their plans, but it was proof that the communication that's coming their way there's been an influx of concern and they can't ignore it. There's a lot of people who are upset and our voices are making a difference. Okay, so we're going to end with some good news. Okay, so on Wednesday, May 7th, the Illinois Governor JB Pritzker became the first governor to sign an executive order to protect autism data. The order protects individuals from unauthorized data collection and sharing by state agencies and ensures that autism-related information is handled only when necessary and with informed consent. Governor Pritzker said, "Every Illinoisan deserves dignity, privacy, and the freedom to live without fear of surveillance or discrimination. As Donald Trump and DOJ threaten these freedoms, we are taking steps to ensure that our state remains a leader in protecting the rights of individuals with autism and all people with disabilities." Lieutenant Governor Stratton said, "We are rejecting stigma and standing with families, educators, and self-advocates across Illinois. This order reinforces our belief that neurodiversity is a strength and that civil rights must evolve to meet emerging challenges in data and privacy." And then I'm going to close with this here. Under this executive order, state agencies may not collect or disclose personally identifiable autism-related data unless it's required for care, legal compliance, or program eligibility, and must always follow strict privacy and data minimization rules. Contractors, vendors, and grantees who work with state agencies are also covered by this executive order and shall not collect, store, or disclose autism-related data. All disclosures must be limited to the minimum amount of information necessary to meet the legal requirement and should be uh, and anonymized. I don't know if I've said that word before, and should be anonymized where allowed and practicable. Illinois now becomes one of the first states to formally restrict the mass collection or sharing of autism-related data absent legal or medical necessity. So this is a very big win, I think, to start seeing higher ups making changes like this, especially an executive order. What I've done is I've created an email that you can copy and paste this in the description of this video. You can copy and paste the email and send it to your representatives asking that they take action similar to Governor Pritzker. All you have to do, copy and paste, and then there's there's a URL that helps you find your representatives. It's so easy, I promise. You just click on the link, you put in your location, and it'll tell you who your representative is and the email address to send what I've already compiled for you to send. So copy and paste. And more emails like that to our representatives. If we have people who are actively working to ensure that this data is handled respectfully, is handled within the context of what's legally allowed and keeps the data anonymous, that's a huge step in the right direction. So please consider sending that email. It will take you like maybe 60 seconds to do it. And I really believe that these emails are making a difference. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for all the comments here. My heart's like racing as I did this. So I'm a single mom and my time, I was like, I have to make this video today. And I'm just really grateful that everybody's here. I really believe that having information is power, knowledge is power, and we're all in this together. I want to, I know I said I was going to close with something else, but I want to close for real by saying this is not us versus them. Okay, this is not let's choose sides. That is only a recipe for more strife and chaos and tension and conflict. So we're all in this together. It's all of us working towards unity, towards authenticity, transparency. If we work on this together and we do our best not to create enemies, but to create unity, to create support, that's going to create the most effective change. Also, remember to do the things that bring you life. Stay hydrated, prioritize rest. Right now, it's super important, especially for our community. Spend time doing things that make you feel alive, more time on your special interests, and just know that we're in this together. So last time, please stay up to date. If you want to stay up to date, check out my website, momonthespectrum.life/RFK. And I also want to thank the people, here's a bell tray. Oh, I want to thank the people, it's backwards, who are in the community that are emailing me whenever you see updates. I am seeing your emails even if I'm not able to respond to them. So it helps me. Like one of the emails today said urgent in all caps is like autism news update. I'm seeing those emails. So please, my email is info@momonthespectrum.life. You can send any updates there. Take care of yourself. And hopefully it'll be a while before I make another video. There's just so much news. Another video related to RFK stuff. There's just so much news this week. So if I'm forgetting something, let me know in the comments because I want to make sure I'm covering all the bases. Lawnmower's back, so I'm going to head out and spare you guys the background noise. All right. Sending love to everybody. Talk with you later. Bye.